All right, buddy, you ready to race that Podracer around the yard for the video?
I want a little mum.
Huh?
I want a little mum.
Happy May, the power of the force. To everybody, I'm Krusty Old Crow. This is an alternative perspective. Yeah, and this is my 12th alternative perspective, but of course this one has to be focused on Star Wars. Because of the May, the power of the force, or fourth, whichever we're calling it, YouTube collaborative effort from a lot of us toy reviewers. This was, of course, started off by a punk with toy, Lawrence over there, and Allison Troy, who came up with this idea of focusing on some of the lesser appreciated Star Wars toys of their time. So, of course, May the Power is the fourth. This year, we're focusing on those prequel toys. And so the toys of the late 90s and early 2000s, where Star Wars was, trying to make its big comeback. So I am going second. Today should be May 2nd. And this video should be out at 8 a.m. sharp. And hopefully I made that mark because I kind of made a promise to a friend I would try and achieve that for them. Of course, that friend being a punk with toys who you hopefully saw yesterday on time and on schedule and maybe at a slower lap rate than me. He's done Anakin and his Podracer to kick things off. So it only makes sense that I followed up with Sebulba and his however you say his name, Sebulba and his Podracer, who of course lost to Anakin in that ever important race. At episode 1, whether or not it was a legit loss, I've done my research, I've done my calculations, and I gotta tell you, Anakin cheated. He's guilty of doping, all right, for one of many of his infractions, and of course the whole thing was rigged, but there was a chance that Sebulba could have stopped the most dubious threat to the universe if he had just defeated Anakin that day. Perhaps we would have never have had to deal with Darth Vader. What a lot of pressure to put on a guy. But I found this one at my local friendly toy store. It's a little place here in Ottawa in an area called Barhaven. It's called Toys on Fire. Great shop. I get a lot of fun things from them. And of course I saw this and I said, well, it's in the box. I gotta have this. So I'm gonna put this down over here. I'm going to unbox this and give it my alternative perspective review. Tell you a little bit of what I know about Sebulba. Tell you about what Hasbro has shown us with this. And we'll just have some fun with it. Again, this is all in the spirit of participation and good fun and showing some appreciations for maybe some toys you haven't seen in a while. So if you like that sort of stuff, don't forget, like, share, subscribe. Also, don't forget to tune in to the other content creators participating in this May the Power of the Force mosaic of reviews. Make sure you're following up on them and making sure that you're liking, sharing, and subscribing to their channels as they lay out some of their best content. All right, enough out of me. Let's go have a look at this thing. For the first time in over, 30, 40 years, maybe even longer, I can actually say I'm actually pretty excited to open this thing up. This is a brand new Star Wars Episode 1 Sebulba's Podracer, containing Sebulba and of course the pod. Just giving you a look at the amazing condition of this box as I found it in, with all these nice dents and everything. It's been subject to time, of course, but it is from Episode 1, made by Hasbro. Hopefully we find the severed child's hand in there. That's going to be an awesome play feature. I can't wait to unpack that. You can see how the hand works there. And it does look to be a rather large toy, which is great. Normally I would use a pointer for all this. And this one came out in 1998, I believe it looks like. If I'm reading the dates on, and it says it has a spring-out blade, which shoots out the side, but it doesn't have the flamethrower, which is what I was looking for. But let's open that up. We're going to get our trusty blade. We're going to get rid of old Krusty there and track down the means by which we are going to open this up. And away we go. Just a simple slit down the side. There we go. And she's liberated. All right. So hopefully, if I remember these right, I got to liberate the little guy first. I always want to get a look at that figure first. You can see it's all packed up now. Do you think I'm going to dick around here? No, I'm not. I'm going to not worry about the packaging so much because you know what? I'm not reselling this and I don't care. And how often do you guys see me unbox anything? I can't stand the sound this stuff makes on camera, the crinkle, the crackle. It's satisfying in person, not so much through a set of headphones, I'm sure. Varying volumes. But there we go. We got our Doug Sebulba, the guy that everybody on the racing circuit learned to be fearful of. He fights like a dirty kangaroo. He looks like a dirty dog. He's kind of like a chimpanzee, if you ask me. Carnivore. You could see that he eats frogs and whatever. He was eating frogs before Grogu did, and we all watched him choke out. Who was it? Jar Jar, using the legs to hold him and things like that. So I really liked his inverted style. They didn't really get too much into what a Doug is, but they played him very much. He's like Jack Sparrow evil kind of fun character. Not much depth into that guy beyond that, but you get a good look at what he comes with. Goggles down, his fighting legs up, his supporting arms down. That's kind of a cool thing. So let's keep opening this up. So one can only take one's time so much when it comes to how Hasbro used to pack these things in cardboard, and almost a complete disdain for the environment on how much plastics they felt free to pack this thing in. The plastics upon plastics upon plastics to lock in this thing. Some of them, even double wired hand applied plastic to make sure this thing is going nowhere. It's almost like we were on a hell-bent revenge mission against Mother Nature back then. But you can see these components all separately. There's that spring-loaded piece that's got an elastic on there. I'm going to have to uncage the beast on that at some point and figure out how that's retained. Thankfully, we do have a set of instructions and some hand-applied stickers for those of you who remember the nightmare of applying stickers, either as a kid doing it yourself and trying to be perfect, or maybe you got your mom or dad to do it and you could tell when they weren't paying attention. Sons of bitches. Anyways, these details will be applied by myself, and I will put all these components together and give Sebulba or Booba Sebulba his Podracer. This is getting harder to say every time. Anyways, let's do that in maybe a time-elapse fashion again. You know what I forgot about when I was a kid collecting Star Wars that made me fully remember? It was as you're applying the stickers, like I said, that sense of achievement when you got it about as right as you're going to get it. Because it's not like it's, rocket science here to apply a sticker to a surface and to try and balance it out. It's patience, it's guesstimation, maybe a little bit of artistic flair or some improvisation, but really it's following instructions. And this is where the sense of accomplishment comes, because, back in the day, they made these instructions pretty basic, almost to a fault, where detail and approaches and details get lost because they don't want to break those steps down for certain things. As a model builder and enthusiast, after I became a toy collector, I saw decals handled in a much different way. But as I aged, I forgot how hard it was to get it right when you were a kid, and how frustrating it would be for a parent to have your kid hawking over you doing, no, pull it off and try again. No, pull it off and try again. So I showed you in this, in these time-elapse clips that I was putting this together, and that the assembly was easy, but it was the stickers that took a long time to get there, but it was a lot of fun. What impressed me about this was I wasn't expecting this to be made of coat hanger wire, which is essentially what this support is, keeping the pod connected to its thrusters. So that's awesome. You could practically hear this thing whipping on, right, running off guys bouncing off of them as they try to push our hero off the road. And he's just trying to stop Darth Vader, right? And if he has to, he can deploy a little feature. I didn't really catch it in the movie. I caught the flamethrower. I didn't really catch this, but if he needs to, he's got this spinning blade function, which is supposed to so much centrifugal force that it's supposed to pop these open, but no, it doesn't really pop them open. You do that, and then it's supposed to look like it's spinning, but really it's just quarter turning, crank, 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 crank. But the kid on the box, like, first off, I didn't find a hand in here, so I clearly had to use my own. But the kid in the box had an overhand grip, and he must have been out of the box a little bit like that. But, a little bit more spring tension. Maybe they would have been onto something. Of course, that'll collapse back in, and then you will manually close your doors. There is no spring release tension. So cheaply made, with cheap little features, but you gotta like the paint that they applied there. High chipping going on all over the place with shiny steel, but not a little bit of burning on the engines, no dust on it. So it was like weathering for the sake of weathering, but maybe just not going all the way with the paint, but just enough that a kid would love this. A dad who enjoyed the movie with their kid would like seeing it going, yeah, those pod racers were cool, right? I wonder if anybody out there remembers the video games that came out for Nintendo or Sega or whatever after this movie. And the pod racer video game was a lot of fun. I used to play it on the computer all the time. So that's pretty much all it had going for it for features that I really could count up on. You can see these clamped hoses are supposed to clip onto that wire. And then, like I said, decals yourself. Sebulba seating nicely on his little backrest there. That does turn away or in. I have no idea really why they made that kind of a spinny feature or even included it. But you can see he sits nicely, and of course his feet handlebars. My God, I don't know if you caught it in the time lapse, but what a labor it was to get two little number 22 and 23 stickers onto those little controls. But he does have pivot controls. If I were to take him out, you got to remember, like, this thing's a, 20 going on 30-year-old toy, and we see a lot of good things going for it, really. I mean, I don't mean to knock sticker placement. Sticker placement's fun when you're a certain age. When you're an adult, it's a trial. But you can see where those stickers on the control panels went on. Those were a real pain. So it's not exactly the kid-friendly play assembly thing. Definitely, maybe that's what toys should be, is get the parents involved to help them put it together, sure. But as an adult collector, I had the patience for this, but it needed it. I enjoy this Sebulba. I can picture him making those canyon runs. Overall, I paid $40 Canadian to do this video, basically. And I had fun going down the rabbit hole of really, why did Sebulba lose, right? He lost because he was trying to out-cheat somebody who was cheating themselves. Anakin Skywalker tested very high. What was it? 200 parts per millionth of midichlorians when the Jedis checked him, which means he was like high on the Force. There he was, piloting this thing all over, and you know what happens before he takes off? Well, doesn't Qui-Gon give him a nice little friendly tap to wish him luck? Maybe that's what really triggered his ability to multitask on the level he was at the age of, 6? But you can't tell me Sebulba didn't have his chance to stop Anakin in that race, perhaps take him out of the scene completely, and maybe we could have avoided all the events that happened afterwards involving, Padawan, dead Padawans, as Anakin, what did he do? He went out and killed kids. Come on. Who didn't want to stop that? Sebulba could have been a hero, right? So he was the first threat Vader ever faced. The toy itself, a lot of fun. Do I think it's worth a $40? I paid for it in Canadian. Sure. If your kid's a Star Wars fan, this will look neat on a shelf. I might even hang this on a picture frame and just on the wall on the picture frame, because I don't have much need for this. I don't collect Star Wars. But it's a fun toy, guys. The stickers are a bit of a pain in the ass, but overall, I did enjoy this. You give it a play grade percentage. I think I would give it about I'll say an 80. This thing sucks, really does. But the way that they have the grip feature to play, I wish this could be locked down. But the way kids could play with this and race each other around the yards, like chase each other around the backyards and do all that crazy time trial stuff, that was great. The way they incorporated simple plastic, snug fit for the pieces, made it quick to assemble. Stickers are a whole other story. And then a figure that locks in well, even when you're shaking it around like kids do. So, play grade, you know what? 80%, we could change that up. We'll bump that up to 90 because in May I'm feeling generous towards Star Wars. As far as character hit percent, I'm going to go, you know what? 100%. This is exactly what the pod you pictured when you pictured Sebulba. And this is exactly how you picture Sebulba. Maybe it would have been nice to see the paint done a little bit better. He's got some just kind of odd paint things that are meant to affiliate with him, but I remember Sebulba was more of a gray on top of this, so the paint not great for him, but you know the money went into the Podracer, likely should, right? Sebulba had the odds against him the whole time. He had some really rich dudes racing against him, and then he had a goddamn Jedi lying in wait, supported not just by more Jedi, but also by royalty and Princess Padme. So you know that race was fixed, right? Like there was no way Sebulba was gonna go away the winner. Even when he's spotting illegal parts on the kid's pod racer and trying to help him by knocking it off before the officials go on there, kids still found a way to cheat, right? Leave the track, you know, bump, rub, hit dirty, did all these things, and now that kid became Vader. You know, the rest is lore. But character 100%. Hey guys, that's gonna do it for this one. What did you guys think of the pod racers? Did you have them as a kid? Do you still have one now? Were they your favorite Star Wars vehicle? You know, was Episode 1 your favorite movie, the video games? Let me know in the comments. And thank you very much for tuning in to my contribution to May the Power of the Force. My contribution to these things. And I hope that you guys enjoy the other subscribers that are coming and watching or making their videos after this one. I hope if you missed it, go back and check out Punk's, because technically he did Anakin. Anakin was first, came in first place. You're just destined to fail. Second place, even in the order of march of these videos. But thanks very much, guys, and we will see you on another alternative perspective. Take care.